In this video, we will discuss about storage spaces and the service areas. It will come under the head organization of spaces. This e-content has been developed under the aegis of Directorate of Higher Education, Haryana. I am Asha, Assistant Professor, Department of Home Science, GCW Rohtak. We will start this video with few objectives. First is to understand the role of storage and dining spaces in any catering institution. Second is to learn the planning of storage spaces and service areas. Third is to create the awareness about the importance of sanitation, safety, and security in storage and serving zones. Storage spaces. First of all, we should know what storage means. Storage involves arranging the goods in specified areas within a space earmarked for particular materials till they require to use by the production, service, or other departments. Planning storage spaces. Whatever the type of storage required, its planning and arrangement depends on a number of factors like sources of supply, then nature of the menu, and purchasing policy. They are the three main factors which affect the planning of storage area. So sources of supply means like if a catering establishment is situated within the proximity of the local market, then there is no need to stock large quantities of commodities or items, and especially those which are in season. They can be purchased on the day on daily basis or on alternate days. So if market are not accessible, like in that case, it is necessary to stock in the greater quantities, and that will need the larger storage spaces. So this planning of storage spaces majorly depend on the volume and the frequency of deliveries possible. Then is nature of the menu. The nature of the menu in terms of its size and the variety of items offered will directly affect the storage space required. Like if a restaurant or a catering establishment is serving a large variety of menu or large variety of food being served, then it will require the more storage area. And if the food served is more perishable, then it will also need the greater storage conditions with larger storage areas. Then is purchasing policy. If purchasing is done by a central department, like in the case of midday meal in schools, central kitchens are supplying the meals, then it is necessary to stock the items up to the 6 months supply. And in the larger establishment, order of dry ingredients can be placed monthly or even daily or bi-weekly or weekly as per the requirement arises. So in the manner in which food is bought and stored, the conditions has been changed now. The food is need more of cold and freezer storage than the dry storage. And electricity consumption is much in these institutions to run these cold freezers, cold storage and freezers, deep freezers, etc. So most of the foods are now packaged to the national safety standards and which need to be maintained in the storage till the food is required or used. Layout of storage spaces. Storage spaces should be located as close to the point of use of the stored commodity as possible. Sometimes in multi-stored office buildings or some organizations, it is not possible to have canteen kitchens near the store or even on the same floor, then it is advisable to create the small storages at every floor near to the kitchen. And transit storages are fed from the main store or a central store on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Spaces should be accessible to roads so that deliveries are easily received without any interference with other organizational activities. Stores are best suited on the eastern or northeast side of a building so as to prevent it from the heat of a midday sun that can affect the storage temperature. And storage spaces must not located over or near the boiler or have steam or hot water pipes running through or under them. Care should be taken that the traffic towards the store or from the stores should be limited to the certain timings, and it must not create any interference to the kitchen or service activities. Storage spaces need to be worked out according to the degree of perishability of the food and the rate of turnover of commodities to be stored there. The planned arrangement in a store are referred to as functional storage, the idea being to provide a facility which makes the ingredients available for use with the least possible delay. Food is classified on the basis of shelf life, and depending on the speed with which the food spoils, it can be classified as perishable, semi-perishable, and non-perishable. First of all, we understand what perishable is. So, perishable means the food which cannot survive under the normal conditions for more than 2 or 3 days or even a single day. It cannot survive and it gets spoiled. Then it is called perishable food. And the shelf life of perishable foods are the least. Then it comes semi-perishable food. Semi-perishable food, the moisture content of semi-perishable food is of medium type and it can survive in the normal conditions up to a week or 15 days. Then non-perishable foods which do not perish on normal temperatures and they can stay unspoiled up to a month or more than that. Those food are called non-perishable foods. And food items has been categorized under these three. Perishable foods can be meat, fish, poultry, milk and milk products, breads, chapati, naan, etc. and other cereal-based products, butter, cream, cheese, fruit and vegetables, cooked food. Then under the semi-perishable head, foods like cereals, pulses and their products, pop flakes, dry roasted cereals and pulses, roasted nuts and fried products, oil seeds, eggs, cake, biscuits and sweets, fried and vegetables like citrus fruits, amla, apples, pumpkin, etc., roots and tubers, yams, potatoes, partially or wholly prepared food included. In the non-perishable category, all preserved foods, canned, dried, pickled, etc., whole pulses, cereals, legumes and millets, dry roasted cereal products, sugar, hydrogenated fats, oils or ghee, tea, coffee, cocoa, spices, condiments and essences are included. So, storage spaces need to be worked out according to the degree of perishability and the rate of turnover of commodities to be served. The planned arrangement in a store are referred to as a functional storage. And this idea being to provide a facility which makes ingredients available for use with the least possible delay. On the basis of perishability of food, storage can be of two types, dry storage and low temperature storage. We can see in the diagram that dry storage, that it is a safe storage at the room temperature, at the temperature of 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. Food can be stored easily without getting spoiling, while at the lower temperatures, those in the minuses, inactivity of microorganisms become very low, or they just become inactive, so that food becomes safe. And another is a zone of destruction. These are the temperatures on the higher sides, like 70 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius, 120 degrees Celsius, or at 100 degrees Celsius even, most of the microorganisms get killed and making the food safe. So this zone, the center zone, that lies between the 5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, that become the danger zone, as most of the microorganisms grow very fast at this temperature. So the basic principle is the hot food must be hot and the cold food must be cold. Now we will discuss the dry storage in detail. As the name suggests, dry storage is a place that is meant for storing the dry ingredients. A storage space should be dry, cool, well ventilated, and it must be free from infestation so as to increase the shelf life of food. Larger spaces for the storage area are desirable as to hold the large stocks of commodities. It can be for a month or 3 months, depending on the size and the type of establishment and their menu and the market areas. Average temperature of a dry store can vary between 20 degree to 25 degrees Celsius, and it depends on the weather condition. If outside temperature is too high, then especially in the tropical countries, then we have to lower the temperature of storeroom by air cooling the store. Dry storage is suitable for non-perishable and semi-perishable commodities. Yes, we can store the semi-perishable commodities, but for a shorter period of time. We can divide dry storage into 5 categories, like food storage, equipment storage, storage of cleaning supplies, trash store, and the miscellaneous store. In the food store, foods are to be stored at different temperatures according to their needs and their requirements. Different temperatures have to be maintained. Then is equipment store. Here, all the kitchen equipment, service equipment, spare parts of gadgets, etc. are stored here. In the cleaning supply storage, detergents, mops, brushes, etc. All cleaning supplies are stored here, and care must be taken that they should be stored in a separate section with proper labeling. Trash store includes the storage space for waste materials from all points of production, such as delivery points, storage, service, and clearing up areas. Miscellaneous store. This is meant for storing linen, stationery, disposable mats, plates, cups, or cutlery, etc. Then comes low temperature storage. The principle works in the designing of low temperature storages is to maintain the temperatures at certain levels which will stop the growth of microorganisms, making them inactive, thus making the food safe. As you know, with the rise in temperature, microbial activity gets accelerated. On the basis of different temperature ranges, three types of low temperature storages are available. That is refrigerated storage, cold storage, and chill rooms. Another is freezer storage. In the refrigerated storage, temperature is to be maintained between 0 degrees to 10 degrees Celsius, and here perishable food can be stored for 3 to 5 days. This refrigerator can be in the form of a complete room or in the form of a cabinet, as you see the refrigerators at home. So the space required for the refrigerated storage is determined by the volume of the food produced and the type of menus served. Then cold storage and chill rooms. Here temperature lies between 0 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius, in between that. And this will bring the entire activity of microorganisms to a minimum. And this will also include the enzymatic activities of food itself. It will hold the perishables for over a week or even up to a month in case of unripe fruits and vegetables. In the freezer storage, temperature ranges from minus 20 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius. And freezer storage can be a wall or a freestanding cabinets or a room, walk-in freezers. For freezing, first food have to be blanched, then cool quickly to the freezing temperatures and pack in the airtight bags or containers. Planning of storage spaces. Storage involves arranging goods in their specified areas. It involves complete process of receiving and handling materials and checking them for quality and quantity against the orders placed. In any catering institute, the manner in which food, equipment, or cleaning materials are being stored till the time they are used is of utmost importance, that 40 to 60% of the cost in any operation are incurred on them. And if these storage spaces are not well planned, it will cause losses to the food and materials through spoilage, spillage, or pilferage. And finally, it will erode the profits of the organization substantially. So, whenever we plan a storage space for an institution, three basic factors should be considered. First is nature of food and materials used. Next is quantities in which these are required. And next is time period for which these are stored. Layout. Every store layout should aim at reducing the mental and physical strain. Along with that, it must save the time and effort of the store staff while locating the stored items or placing correctly at the time of delivery. A reception platform can be formed at the delivery point. It helps in preventing the excessive lifting. Moreover, delivery vans can reverse up to the platform to offload the commodities. And a makeup counter that can be formed in the center area, and it is necessary rather to hold the commodities before they can go to their places, to their assigned places in the storerooms, or to be issued directly to the other departments. Type of arrangement can be different, but store items must be placed at the right heights so that the person, store staff, can easily reach up to them and can read them very easily and clearly with no strain, undue strain. And there must be sufficient clearance between items so that they can be easily reached and replaced. Structural features. The ceiling of a store should be at least 3.5 to 4 meters high, and there should be proper provision for ventilation and lighting, and it should be all protected by the grills. Enamel uh, paints can be applied on walls and ceilings, and floors can be of concrete and of heavy tiles so that it can withstand the wear and tear that may cause that may be caused from the movement of goods on trolleys. And the ceiling, floors, or wall, it should be easy to clean and damp proof to prevent the microbial infestation and the spoilage of food. All fittings in the store should be of a type that can be easily dismantled for regular cleaning, and it is preferable to have storage racks of metal or any other non-porous material, though steel is the best, but other arrangements can be done according to the institutional requirements. And there should be proper space for gang room or for gangway or for easels, and this space between the shelves may vary from 50 centimeter to 90 centimeter depending on the size of the containers to be stored. For smaller cans or jars, the space, a little space is required, and the recommended height of racks is 2.3 meter. If racks are higher than that it will pose the problems in reaching for or placing or issuing of items and fixing of light, etc. So weighing scales should be fixed or placed on the tables, as it is very important. Lighting. Fluorescent lamps in trough fittings placed in a row at right angles to the shelving are the most suitable type because the light penetrates best from this angle at that 90-degree angle into each shelf. And if the shelves are light colored, that will be a greater advantage. So light should be fitted at the proper heights not to get damaged by the boxes or the containers of food items, and even the food items either should not get spoiled by the heat generated by the lamps. Lights fitted too close to the food items may generate heat, and that can affect the quality of a perishable or semi-perishable food. Ventilation. Windows and the exhaust fans provide the suitable ventilation required for the storages, but these should be situated high up on the walls so as to provide the ample and uninterrupted circulation of air. Each and every corner of the storeroom should be properly lit. It should be dry and cool. Dimensions for storage. Dimensions for storage should taken into account the freedom of movement between easels in a storeroom. In no case should passages allow for movement of more than one person at a time. Here are some space allowances for easels in the storerooms. Like width of gangway should be 90 centimeter. Then width of easels for movement of one person, single person, 60 centimeter area is required. A person, if he is carrying a load, then 65 centimeter a width of easel is required. Then if two persons to pass, then 70 centimeter area is required. For two persons to pass with a load, 90 centimeter area will be required. For an average hand truck, then the requirement will be 1.2 meter. If two average hand trucks are moving together, then 2 meter area is needed. If we are to turn an average truck, then turning radius will be that area for that to turn the average truck will be 2 meter. Now we will discuss the sanitation, safety and security of the storerooms. It is good to formulate some schedule or chart for regular cleaning and maintenance of stores. Few points should kept in mind like wash floors, walls and shelves once a week or fortnightly and disinfect the premises. Next, to inspect the incoming food for signs of damage, spoilage or infestation before storing. Arrange good food systematically so that old stocks are used first. It works on the principle FIFO, like first in, first out. Whatever comes first, that must go on the priority. All open packages should be put in covered airtight containers and labeled before restoring. Foods of similar type should be stored together and staff should follow the rules of personal hygiene while handling the food. Stores are vulnerable to pilferage and theft, so it is extremely important to take the proper safety and security measures here. A few important guidelines for maintaining the securities are like having minimum inlets or outlets. It is preferable to have a full guarded door and a single door for entry and into and exit. All the windows and the other openings should be well guarded with the mesh and the grills. And the storekeeper's office needs to be positioned in such a way that supervision is possible all the time. And at not even a single time in the store should be left unmanned. Issue counters can be closed at odd hours or when the distribution is not going on. And safety lock needs to be fixed and keys to of the store should always be kept in a safe under the charge of a single responsible person. Safety devices also helps like automatic locks, built-in alarm systems against fire, gas leakages and theft. They all should be installed. And cameras can also be installed at the several places inside the store and at the door of and the main door of the storeroom. A guard on the 24-hour duty is very important. Safety hazards. The safety hazards to which the stores can be exposed to uh, can be infestation or contamination of food held in storage. It can be theft or pilferage. Fire can break out. Electricity failure can happen, especially in the case of cold storages. So we should stay alert. Safety hazards in the kitchen are everywhere, as this diagram says. So everyone stay alert. So what a good store must provide. It must provide the wholesome ingredients for food production and service. It must provide the proper temperatures and right humidity for prolonging the shelf life of various foods. It also provides a suitable space and the structural equipment arrangement so that sufficient light and ventilation can be provided. It must contain suitable barriers against pest and rodent infestation. A good store must have access to materials in the store and ease of cleaning. A good store provides foolproof quality and quantity control arrangements for the receipt and the issue of goods. And the most important, a food a good store must provide safety and security. Store management requires not only the efficient staff but people who possess high moral and ethical standards while dealing with the suppliers and supplies. This was all about the storage spaces. In the next video, we will discuss the service areas. In the next slide, we will find the questions and references. Now we will come to service areas. A service area is one in which the customer comes in contact with the food service establishment. In any establishment, a guest's first impression on entering the service area is of great importance. A customer can be won or lost on these impressions alone. So, service area is a place where customer comes in contact with that establishment. It includes two spaces, like spaces in which the food is served or dished out, and another is where it is being consumed. So, dining and service areas represent those spaces in a food service establishment earmarked for serving food to customers. These spaces vary very appreciably from one establishment to other, depending on the activities which service staff are required to perform, the mode of service adopted, and the space available for sitting of customers. Location. Service and dining areas as a rule are located adjacent to kitchens or food production centers and clearing up or dishwashing areas. Sometimes it happens that food is being supplied from a central kitchen to many distribution points of dining. For example, in a multi-storied office blocks, service and dining areas have to be located on every other floor for the convenience of customers. Therefore, the production of food becomes removed from the service and the consumption point. It also happens then food is centrally prepared and required to be distributed at a number of service points. Then service and the dining activities get located at every distribution point to which the food is in bulk supply from the central kitchens. That location of service and dining areas depend on the catering policies of establishment, and these policies in turn are based on the viability of the food production area. Few guidelines are here that first can be all entrances should be located nearest to the service counter and exits on the sides nearest to the clearing areas. Next can be cross traffic should be avoided so that service should remain uninterrupted. It is a good policy to calculate the space requirements in relation to the main goals of establishment. Structural designing. Structural designing of service areas include the design of flooring, ceilings, walls, and furniture and fittings. So flooring, it should be hard wearing, fireproof, waterproof, and decorative. Dark colored floorings should be preferred. Dark colors accentuate the color of food on the table by making the rest of the room look brighter. And dark colored flooring is more suitable because they are more prone to spillage and the action of food acids, and which can cause the fading or discoloration of the flooring. And such damages can be easily detected as it would be on a light colored floor. Walls and ceilings, they may be of acoustical materials that absorb any unwanted sounds and make the eating environment peaceful and more enjoyable. Sometimes it doesn't work as if an establishment is located on the roadside, then it is not possible to control all the noise to a certain extent. Their preference should be given to the comfort of customers and on the food being served. Furniture and fittings are best made of fireproof materials. They should be durable, hard wearing, and noiseless when handled or used. And windows should not occupy more space than 20% of the floor area, and doors should be self-closing and windows should be covered with fly-proof shutters. And equipment like pesto flash, which traps the insect, can be placed in the dining and serving area. Whatever the design is, the general consideration for structural planning of service areas are it should be easy to clean, easy to maintain, a smooth workflow must be provided, and the movement of people passing through them, it is more comfortable, and so that accidents can be prevented and making the work area more safer. Above all, it must be attractive. All the areas which are exposed to the view of customer must be made as attractive as possible in terms of color, design, decor, while still creating an atmosphere of comfort and pleasure. The planning of service areas should aim at achieving smooth workflow, maximum space utilization, and prompt service. When we say smooth flow of work means when one activity proceeds into another very smoothly or like automatically, then work centers can be arranged in the similar manner. In service sections, a smooth flow of work can be facilitated through the arrangements of work centers and the placement of equipments in a logical sequence according to the activities to be done. Then maximum space utilization. How can we use the space maximally? This was all about. For effective utilization of service and dining areas, spaces need to be planned for multi-purposes use. Dining areas many times can be used as, for example, dance parties as a dance floor or some other functions if furniture is mobile or foldable or collapsible and easy to handle and stored. Structural planning of floors, walls, ceilings, doors, and light fittings can also be geared to multi-use. So flooring with a central wooden area can be used as a dance floor. Otherwise, it can be covered with carpet when not in use. And the spaces in the dining area should be 3 to 4 times the size of the kitchen to which they are attached and can be easily adapted for the different kind of activities. Then comes the prompt service. Prompt service is the key of the success of any food establishment. Efficient service can be established if menus are limited in their choices, proper holding is there, and service equipment are used and placed at the points where replenishments from the kitchen as well as the process of dishing out for the service do not involve delays. Some reasons like why these delays occur in services are too much distance between the customer and the service counter or obstruction in traveling. There are some blind corners can be there, hot services are there, sharp turns may be there. Then too vast a menu causes delay on the part of customer in making the selections or ordering, placing orders. Then menu items are not placed in a logical order for service, shortage of service staff at the peak times, lack of service skills, inadequate wash-up arrangements, causing the delays in recycling of clean table appointments, or it can be insufficient serving dishes. So the main factors around which the service areas are planned include the space available, funds in hand, and the style of service. Arrangements in service area are determined by the number of customer to be served and the type of customers come to any establishment. The larger the number of customers served at a particular time, the larger is the space requirement for accommodating them. The area of dining rooms can therefore be calculated by simply multiplying the maximum number of people dining at one time with the space required for each seat. Also, the number of times a seat is being occupied in a given period of time. It can also multiply by the number of seats that will give us the total number of customers turning up at a certain point. And in this way, the spaces to be planned for the dining area can be calculated on the basis of number of seats occupied during the rush hours, when the maximum or highest number of customers are expected. Customers turnover rate can be different. It can be very inconsistent from a certain period of the day to the another and from one type of establishment to another. There are few factors which affect the turnover of customers. That can be food choice. Yes, like in a cafeteria, for example, uh, the customers come only for a cup of coffee, and they stay for a very short time period. And thus the seat occupied will be longer in when they eat some full meal. So next is time at the customer's disposal. Like sometimes customers come for a lunch break or just for half an hour or an hour. Then sometimes people come for celebration with friends or for discussions or just to spend the time. They will need more time than the former. Method of services like waiter services result in the slower turnover as it takes a longer period to execute the order. But in self-service method, time taken is very low, very less. And turnover is also affected by the method used in the food production. If it's a batch cooking, then obviously it will take longer time. But if it is ready to serve, it will take very less time. Generally, people come in a group of two to eights, right? And average time taken for breakfast and evening tea is 15 to 25 minutes, and for lunch it can be 20 to 30 minutes. While at dinner times, people are more relaxed, so it can be up to 50 minutes, 30 to 50 minutes. Calculating the space requirements are dependent on the total catering policies adopted by any establishment and the nature of the customer, like whether customer is a children or an adult, resident or non-resident, and the total number of customers for which the facility is designed. It determines the volume of food to be prepared and hence the sizes of the service equipment to be installed and the space allocated. Space and equipment both are very expensive resources, so they have to be taken into consideration while planning space allotment. Space allotment should be kept in mind so as many times food establishment can change the layouts for service and dining areas because of changing demands of customers, their ages and body sizes. So flexibility is the essence of good space allocation. Number, type and size of equipment in service areas. Total number of meals served at any time and the menu composition helps in determining the quantities of various dishes to be produced and the size and type of holding, reheating or finishing equipment necessary in any serving area. Essential equipment can be beverage equipment or display cases, bain-marie or hot cases, trolleys, or mobile equipment for holding the cutlery, napkin, etc., and clearing trolleys with bins for clearing plate waste. Wash basins can be fixed to create good impression on customers about hygiene. Number of serving staff that have to stay in the service area is determined by the number of customers to be served at one time and also by the composition of the menu. For example, when food are prepared and packed, these and ready to hand it out, then few service persons are needed, and service staff can serve many more customers at a time. Then, if they have to wait to get an order to be prepared before serving, and here each server spends more time when the menu has a wider choice. In some food service establishments, there is only fixed waiter service. Then space allocation should be more so as to accommodate the larger number of waiter staff. And these service staff also require more space for the freedom of movement, and more easels are needed for a smooth flow of service. Storage space is needed. Storage space is needed in the service areas for waiter service are far greater than those required for the self-service establishment. Like in waiter service, there is a few requirements. Some basic appointments have to be kept on the table, on each table, like cruets, tableware, linens, sauces, pickle stands, butter and salad bowls, and bread baskets also. And while in the self-service establishment, space is required less, and especially it is needed for mobile equipment for cutlery and clearing, and counter space, which is fixed according to the type of menu being served and the type of and number of customers. Dimensions for service areas. The restaurant dining room, whether it is formal or casual, it is the most important area in the front of the house. Its design plays a large part in the overall ambience of any food establishment. A restaurant dining room design is more than just table and chairs. It includes spaces for a wait station, storage, and, and a POS system, all of which need to be hidden from the customers. POS system means point of sale. A point of sale is a place where the customer executes the payment for goods or services, and where the receipts are generated either in the form of print or electronically. Comfort and ease of users, both staff and guests, dictates the space requirements. Some guidelines has been established for different types of food services. These space allowances provide the idea for allocation of seating in dining rooms. These allowances do not include the toilet, washing, and other customer facilities. In this table, we can see some space allowances in square meter area. Approximately, in approximate calculation has been done, and for lunchroom setting for young children, 0.75 square meter area is required. For adult setting, 1.15 square meter area needed. In formal service banquets, 1 square meter area will be needed. In cafeteria, commercial cafeteria, space requirement will be 1.5 to 1.65 square meter. In school lunchroom, 1.10 to 1.40 square meter area is required. In table service in college canteens, like 0.85 to 1.10 square meter area is required. At counter services, 1.10 to 1.50 square meter space will be allowed. Then at table services in clubs, 1.7 to 1.9 square meter space will be needed. And for table services, 1 to 1.30 space will be required, 3 square meter space will be required. And for college cafeteria, 1 to 1.10 to 1.40 square meter space is needed. Table sizes. Table sizes vary with the style of dining in an establishment. For waiter service, it is difficult to serve at tables more than 1.22 meter long. But in a self-service cafeteria, customer Sometimes customers are expected to use their trays on the tables to eat from. Then the size of table must be large enough to accommodate the required number of trays of a particular size. Like for example, if the size of tray is 35 into 45 centimeter, then the table needs to be at least 122 square centimeter to accommodate four of them for comfortable dining. Like size of table can be 90 square centimeter or 1 square meter. That could be economical, but it is not comfortable for four diners simultaneously. And where a fast service is desired, that size of table can be 60 square centimeter and 75 square centimeter may be used. But yes, it is not comfortable for any age group. So it is advisable to use a combination of sizes if flexibility is required. Since like these small tables can always be joined together to suit the number and the spaces in terms of the sizes and shapes. The planning and organization of serving and dining areas should aim at preserving the food quality, providing queuing problems, maintaining standards of environmental hygiene. Uh, like how can we preserve the food quality? This can be done by proper choice of holding and service equipment, and especially when the food are to be kept at room temperature. Foods should be held for the shortest possible period after preparation. Clean handling is also important in maintaining the good quality of food, and there should be no cross infection from customers, so they must be guarded and displayed in proper displaying units. And how to avoid the queuing problems? This can be done by ensuring a fast turnover of food and customers, then arranging the area in such a way that to avoid a congested look or feeling to the customers. In the last, we can maintain the good standards of environmental hygiene by keeping all areas clean, by clearing up as soon as a table has been vacated, and removing the plate waste away from the food handling areas immediately. This diagram gives us an idea about the arrangement of tables in any catering institution. Like all the food service establishments provide sitting arrangements for tables to set 2 and 4 persons, and it can be combined in different ways to cater to groups of different sizes, for 6 to 8 people or even more. Different establishments use more or less both these sizes depending on the frequency with which the 2 or 4 people come or their multiplies visit the establishment. Setting may be increased or decreased within a space by changing the arrangements within the area. Arrangements of table and chairs in any food establishment can be adjusted to cater the needs of customers. Like in a cafeteria, when an influx of office goers or shoppers, uh, they come for a limited time for lunch, these chairs can be removed and tables adjusted to provide the standing space for more customers, so that turnover can be faster and it will prevent the undue queuing problems. And In the evenings, when the number of customers usually drops, when shopping centers and the offices close, and people come for leisurely dining, then this dining area can be converted for this requirement by lowering the height of tables and providing the sitting in the same space. Decor of service and dining areas. Decor is an important feature of dining area. Decor basically plays on the psyche of customers and produces different emotional reactions in the people. Some places, even though they are restricted in their spaces, through clever color effects, one can impart a feeling of warmth, spaciousness, color, comfort, balance, cheerfulness, efficiency, and enjoyment. Use of soft lighting, different colors, flowers, plants, music, etc., can help to create what may be called the atmosphere of any restaurant, coffee shop, or dining hall, and so on. Producing an effect of spaciousness is also a great asset to any food service because it helps customers to feel comfortable in the small spaces even. Effect of spaciousness can be produced in a number of ways by using cool and light colors on the walls, floors, ceilings, furniture. We can create larger space, like it will give a feeling of spaciousness. Then effect of spaciousness can be created by using glass panels, mirrors, paintings, or sceneries on the walls, and lighting that fall on the ceilings makes the spaces look larger. A lighted wall panel gives a feeling of spaciousness, and clear plastic or glass tops of tables through which we can see the floors, that will also add into the spaces of that room or dining area. And if floor coverings are continued over the part of walls, then it will also give an impression of spaciousness, as it seems the spaces are larger to be in continuity with the floorings. Lighting. Lighting in dining areas contributes not only to the spatial effects but does much for the aesthetics in the comfort of that environment, along with its functional utility. Proper illumination enhances the structural beauty and the color of walls, ceilings, floors, furnishings, etc. Illumination is what? Illumination may be defined as a light falling on a unit area of the surface measured in units called lux. So lux is a unit of illumination. The light emitted by a unit area of surface is, is commonly measured as candelas per square meter. Recommended illumination levels in restaurants and cafeterias is 100 lux against the food production areas where this illumination level is 500 lux. Choices of light fittings depends on many things. It can be durability and finish, attractiveness and ability to blend with overall decor, weight of fitting and design for adjustability, ease of installation and cleaning. Along with that, installation accessories required, ease of maintenance, types of light sources, and the availability of spare parts. So, when we talk about the functional aspects of light, there are three types of light sources. It is combustion, incandescent, and electric discharge. Combustion is a process which involves the fuel which is ignited as in a coal fire, oil lamps or candles, etc. This source produces orange colored light and it is not very practical as a sole method of lighting in the dining areas. In view of candlelight dining and spitfires, it can be used. Otherwise, incandescent lights and electric discharge lights are to be used. Incandescence is the light emitted when a substance is heated, like sunlight, and electric light. Sun is the most common example of the natural light. Rooms which are naturally lit through sunlight exhibit a certain warmth and cheerfulness. In electric discharge lamps are a lighting device which consists of a transparent container within which a gas is energized by an applied voltage and therefore made it to glow. Incandescent bulbs give a warm light as compared to fluorescent lighting produced by the electric discharge lamps. It can be in the shape of tubular, circular, straight line, U shape, etc. So fluorescent lighting produces less glare and it is very cheaper to maintain. Although the initial cost of installation is greater than that of the light bulbs. More than one type of lighting is to be used in the service areas for creating the aesthetic effects as well as for the utility, so as to switch off the lights over the vacant areas. Dining rooms require low level but generalized illumination to create a subdued effect. Additionally, other sources of light may be used effectively to focus on table appointments, panels, furniture, or music center, etc. Designing and layout in service areas. Whatever the type of atmosphere created in any food establishment, the basic principles to be followed in the design and layout of the service area are effective space utilization, then planning of areas, and the scope for adjustments and expansion. So, when we say effective space utilization, it is necessary to create harmony, balance, proportion, and a rhythm while at at the same time we have to create a focal point to draw the attention of customers. This can be done by using the size differentiation, repetition, contrast, or arrangement of things into the decor. Then comes planning of areas. Area planning must provide flexibility in use. Another is the scope for adjustments and expansion. Future expansions and adjustments must be kept in mind, and a scope should always be there to make such expansions. As you know, there is a big competition in food service sector. The spaces have become so limited and very expensive. Then managements have to look at the renovation schemes periodically rather than simply expanding the spaces or the increase the size of the existing establishment. These renovation schemes must suit to the taste of changing taste of the customers, and this renovation all this aim must aim at improving the appearance of the establishment, then maximizing the space utilization. It must create the smooth workflow. It also extend the services provided to the customer to enhance their satisfaction. It these renovation plans must raise the profits of the institution, and along with that it must enhance the efficiency of the staff and developing staff facilities. Apart from the spaces required for actual food production and service, organizing spaces for staff facilities are also important in every food service establishment. These facilities include restrooms, toilet, and washing facilities for staff members. The point to emphasize is that these facilities should be away from the areas where food is being actually handled, having independent exits leading to the outside of the building. These facilities for customers also are to be arranged in the catering institution. These facility, whatever facility is there for customer, they should be separate from those of the staff members so as to prevent the spread of infection from customers to staff members and then to the food preparation environment. And all these spaces must follow the rules for good hygiene, sanitation, and safety in the well-being of people and the institution itself. So these are sample questions. First can be, what do you understand by the service area? Which consideration should taken into account while planning service areas? One question can be like prompt service is the key to attract customers to any catering establishment. Discuss. Next is elucidate the decor of service and dining areas. Next is lighting not only produce spatial effects along with functional utility but also enrich dining areas aesthetically. Discuss. Uh, Next question is write the role of following in planning service areas. A part is smooth workflow, B is space utilization. Another question can be like describe the factors affecting planning of storage spaces in a catering establishment. Next can be like give types of storage. One more question is there. Write short notes on dry storage or and low temperature storage. Last can be explain in detail about the sanitation, safety, and security of stores. This is reference section. So this was all about storage spaces and service areas. Thank you so much. Have a good day.